When the new Congress convenes on Tuesday, one of the first orders of business in the House will be the selection of a new speaker. Normally, it's a routine ritual. The leader of the majority party wins the election. But House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy is still rounding up votes, and that's the topic of our weekend briefing with congressional correspondent Lisa Desjardins. Lisa, we know that nothing happens on the Hill, no one moves, no one coughs without you hearing it and knowing about it. So what's the current state of play?
John, we are less than 2 days away from the new Congress convening and getting ready to elect a new speaker. And Kevin McCarthy, the man who Republicans have chosen as their nominee for House Speaker, does not have the votes he needs to win. You need right now a majority of the House to guarantee the speakership. So 218 votes. Kevin McCarthy will walk in with a total of 222 Republicans. And he does not have 218 of them supporting him yet. He does have a majority, though, and allies of his, like Darrell Issa of California, are spending time, like they did this morning, saying that they think he will get there. Here's what Mr. Issa had to say.
He has a team in place and is ready to go. And quite frankly, there's an inevitability that he will be the speaker. So now it's time for those few holdouts to decide what is it that they really want. Say it. We'll make sure, Speaker McCarthy will make sure they get it.
John, I'm sure you heard those two things there. He believes, Congressman Issa, that McCarthy is inevitably going to be Speaker, but he also importantly said there that they're still willing to give the holdouts what they want. So a lot of negotiation still happening.
Well, tell us, who are those holdouts and what do they want?
This is a fascinating group of people, and in fact, look at it in two different ways. There is one group that says they will never vote for Mr. McCarthy for Speaker. These are conservatives from around the country, and many of them say, frankly, that they have trust issues. They don't believe that Kevin McCarthy is conservative or tough enough when it comes to negotiating. Now, there is a second group, and by the way, Mr. McCarthy needs at least one of those five to change their mind and vote with him to guarantee the speakership. But there are somewhere between 7, maybe a dozen more Republicans who say, maybe I can vote for a Speaker McCarthy, but he has to change significantly on the rules of how things operate. They want more power for individual members of the House. This speaks to the nature of the House itself, and they include some new members, some incoming members like Representative Anna Luna of Florida. Here's what she had to say on Steve Bannon's podcast a couple days ago.
I think right now a lot of people are not happy about the options. I've gotten a lot of emails from people telling me that they don't want me to vote for Kevin McCarthy. And I do listen to what my constituents say. And more importantly, you know, if going up to Washington means that I have to just fall in line, then why did I really run in the first place, right?
And she's a maybe. This all, again, comes down to the numbers, John. Mr. McCarthy needs most everyone in his conference, and right now he has a dozen or more who are not yet on board his speakership.
We heard Representative-elect Luna there talk about her options. Is there a viable alternative to Kevin McCarthy?
I'll put it to you like this. There is no one who has said they would like to be Speaker who is viable. But there are some names being kicked around in case the McCarthy effort completely collapses. Names like the number 2 Republican in the House right now, Steve Scalise of Louisiana. He's someone who generally has wide respect in the conference. He has said he does not want to be Speaker. He's supporting McCarthy, but his name is out there. The other one, Jim Jordan of Ohio. He is someone known for his very aggressive combating of the Biden agenda, kind of pugilistic. He's a champion wrestler approach to governing. He also supports Kevin McCarthy, but he's another person who has a lot of respect. Neither of them running, but those are names if the McCarthy idea does in fact collapse.
There's a lot, of course, on the line personally for Kevin McCarthy, but what's at stake here? What's the bigger picture? What's at stake here?
John, I think really with the agenda, it may not matter who the speaker is for the House Republican Conference because they have a lot of divide that they need to work through. But what could matter here is the way governing happens in the House. Just how far close to the brink do they push things like the debt ceiling, which is something coming up in the next couple of months. Those who don't like McCarthy really want to risk that. And this is a question of tone going ahead.
And what happens if they can't resolve this on Tuesday?
John, a really important question. The first order of business in the House is electing a speaker. If they do not have a majority vote at that point, it will delay everything else in the House, including swearing in of members. This is something that has not happened in 100 years. It is yet again some relatively uncharted territory.
Never
least in
dull on
modern
Capitol Hill for Lisa Desjardins. Tuesday is going to be no exception. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.